Hey, what's up, guys? Austin back here. Another video. A little bit of instrumental music there. But, where have I been? Once again, um, left y'all hanging for a week. I do realize that. I actually done that with intentions of posting Monday. But end up, well, I'm getting ready to announce, yeah, I was killed. But, let's talk about my week real quick. Been working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, off Sunday and Monday. Woke up Sunday morning, had an amazing service at church. By the way, East Pittsburgh Baptist Church, y'all are more than welcome to come. I hope to see some of y'all there. But that's where I go to church, by the way. But anyway, then came home, done a few odds and ends around the house, and got ready for my trip Monday. And big shout out to Ethan Hayes for going to Cumberland with me, withstanding that nasty weather we had to endure. We was sitting out there like rain ducks for about an hour and a half. We had two different bad uh, rain clouds come through, and it was a beatdown. The rain, I couldn't half see. I couldn't see logs or nothing. The Lord was with us, by the way. Made it in safe. The boat's good. Everything went good. Didn't have no bad luck. Caught a lot of fish. Had an amazing day and an amazing trip. We ended up had 18 fish that we got in. We should have had 25. They just got off some smaller ones. They wouldn't have kept. They wouldn't have helped our bag any. So we should have had 25 if we could get fish in. But that's on me because I lost probably about 7 of them myself on one rod. But let's get into talking about what we was using, the top gear. Y'all already know the concept. We did go to Lake Cumberland. That is both mine and Ethan Hayes' favorite lake to fish. We both done fishing team, so we kind of fished that a whole lot. But let's talk big, what we called our big ones on. Then we talk numbers, what we was catching most of them on. So, and I'm going to tell y'all the spots and the areas, the line. Y'all already know the concept. So, y'all seen this. It's my 7'7" meat stick by Dwayne at Dixie Custom. And I have it paired with a Tatula SV 8 1-to-1. And this here is a half ounce Chester Wooten frog hair. I think that's in Cumberland Crawl. And this here is 20-pound Suffix Promix monofilament. So we was there at Cumberland Point, and like here's the ramp, and it kind of has a bend in it. So we was fishing that bend, and it's kind of rock. Then it goes to timber that's washed up on the bank. Well, Ethan's throwing one of his jigs. I'm just like, that ain't gonna work. And that was early that morning. That was our first spot. So I'm up there throwing my top water, and I had probably about 5 blow ups from the same exact fish. And ended up, Ethan called it. It was a small striper, about 12, 13 inches. I was throwing, I'm a skimmer. Well, he gets it off. He called in on a swim bait, one of them Strike King Rage swimmers, I think in Pro Blue. And he was throwing, I'm pretty sure a Falcon rod. That's one of their $100 rods on a loose term MB. But anyway, back to what I was talking about, that bend. Well, he puts his jig down, and I'm trying to give him an opportunity to catch topwater fish because I've been caught some this year, and he ain't caught one this year. So I pick up my jig, I throw it out there, and I'm dragging it just like that. And all I feel is tick, tick. And I'm just like, that's weird. My jig ain't even, I ain't in nothing. I ain't on rock or nothing. So if anything I hit, it should went don't like a stump or something. Well, I set the hook, and when I do, my rod just loads up. I'm just like, Ethan, I got one. Well, end up, I fought him. And on 20-pound line, I didn't have to worry about my drag too much, but he kept diving and diving and diving. And I'm just like, well, I don't want to take any chances. Ended up loosened my drag a little bit. He came on the right side of the boat, and I tightened it and boat flipped him. I figured it was about 16-inch smallmouth. Well, ended up my 16-inch smallmouth turned out to be a 18 and a quarter. So on my first trip to Cumberland, my first jig fish of the year was a keeper smallmouth. And after that, I was like, yes, this is going to be a good day. Well, we fished that out. We done caught about 5 fish just off Cumberland Point that morning. Well, we go straight across and sig on the fall bush. We try to find this other cove I like. Couldn't find it. I hadn't fished Cumberland in a year. I could not find it. Well, end up we fished these other 2 haulers that looked good. And we done pretty good out of those. But show you what I had some strikes on, of course. But this would be a good time to give y'all a tip from having to go through that. Get you some small rubber bands and rubber band them hooks. But anyway, let's talk about what I was throwing here. So I was throwing an Alma skimmer. As you can tell, I have 2, one with a feather tail. I make one with just plain hook. And I was throwing this up until I realized that hook got gone. And I'm just like, man, no wonder I'm missing fish. Well, I put that up. And I went to a Strike King KVD Sexy Dog Junior. So it's the one with the 2 hooks. And by the time I put that on, we was in Fallbush Creek. And caught, I think 3 on it. I caught one of our keeper largemouth. And I caught 3 keepers. He caught 2 keepers. He had a big Kentucky, like 15 inches. He was a fat son of a gun, to say the least. So that's why I said he is big. But I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all all the setups, and I'll talk about where we was and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, here. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we gotta go on here as usual. So here's that KVD Sexy Dog. I put one of them treble hooks I make on the back of it. I saw it on my toy rod KVD and a dial with Tatula 8:1 gear ratio. This here is that brand new Tatula I bought down there at Joe Kurtzinger's. Big shout out to Kurtzinger Sunrise Outfitters. As always, they will take care of you. But throwing it on 20 pound Suffix Pro Mix small filament because it floats. Well, I set my globe up there, and this was my E-rig rod, and then it ended up being my flipping rod. I have a 1/2 ounce of standard lead weight. I do have it pegged with a VMC bobber stop. I have a 6/0, and you would never hardly see me throwing a 6/0 unless I'm flipping in really heavy cover, or if I'm throwing 10-inch worm. But 6/0, 6 cents, EWG. Daiwa Tatula 6-3-1, 150. And this here's us a H. And 7-11 casting rod. Y'all already know that. And that there was my flipping and A-rig rod. That there carried us, literally. Not that, but what I just set to the side. Alright, let's see here. Get some more untangled here, Austin. I did throw this a little bit. Y'all know I talk about swim bait. I love throwing a swim bait. And this is my 7'6" medium light Dixie Custom 16 ounce head and a 2.8 electric chartreuse blue Kitech. And then my Stratic 4-pound line as usual. Alrighty. And then let's see here. I didn't even throw that. Ain't no need in talking about that. Well, yeah, it is, because y'all ain't seen it yet. This here is a rod I had before I even started YouTube. It's actually given to me by a good friend of mine, and I broke it. So, another good friend of mine, he was trading in a bunch of rods up there, and I'm just like, hey, I'm buying this rod because I want to replace it because it was a gift, and I don't care if this rod just sits in the corner. I will have it for years to come. But it is an older Quantum Terror edition. It's a 7 foot medium heavy. And then for now, I just have that Bassmaster reel on there because I ain't went and got me another Tatula yet. So I plan on doing that maybe Sunday, going and buying me another Tatula. If not this Sunday, next Sunday. Y'all know I'm big in the Tatulas, so. Alrighty, moving right along. Well, what in the world is going on here? I got rods trying to mate over here. 3 of them. There we go. This here is a 6'6" Denali rocker rod. I have it paired with 12. No, this is 10 pound. 10 pound fluorocarbon. I think this is P-Line Tactical. I have pretty sure a 1/2 ounce hog collar on here, chartreuse and white. Just your standard willow leaf and your Colorado. Daiwa Tatula 7 1-to-1. Alrighty, then, yep, I knew it. That there's gonna be a booger to get undone. Alright, here's one I threw and threw and threw and threw, and I just couldn't get hooked up on. It's my Castaway Tyrannus, 7 foot, medium heavy. Although I do have a nick in that line I didn't even know I had. So I definitely gotta cut that off, retie it. But this is my other Daiwa Tatula SV, and it's on an 8 1-to-1. I had it paired with a 1/4 ounce head. I was trying to throw a swim bait on it. But alrighty, now let's talk this here. If I never get them undone. Okay. Calm down, rock crawler. There we go. Alright, this here's my 7-footer Denali rocker rod. Daiwa Tatula 100, 7 1-to-1 gear ratio. This here has a 12-pound line. This here's fluorocarbon. This was my cranking setup. Spro rock crawler on there. And then I had a tube tied on in case I had to put in a different ramp. That was on Berkeley Lightning Rod, 7 foot, medium heavy, and it was on a loose Speed Spin 300 you can't buy no more. And then this here was what carried us. Seemed like every time I'd let Ethan have his rod, he hooked up. He hung up one of his jigs, and I said, here, hand me your rod and take this. I done threw it off past the point, and he wasn't even fishing it. He was just keeping it off the bottom where he didn't hang it up, and then that Kentucky hit it. Well, ended up, he caught a 17 3/4 inch smallmouth on here. And then he caught another Kentucky on here. This was my enemy, but his best friend for that day. I lost probably 5 fish, 7 fish on this rod. 610 medium light Dixie Custom. It's a custom rod I had made, and it was paired with 1/8 ounce one of my swim bait heads and then a little turd. And that was strictly because I want to kind of walk it, and that's something y'all would have to see me do to know how to do it. And I just kind of walk that turd and it glides like a spook. But end up, it works as a Ned rig head too. Dowel Tatula spin reel 4 pound line. Alrighty, so let's get into talking about what worked, how many fish we caught on each thing, and stuff like that. So I was throwing top water. I think I caught like 5, 7 fish on it on top water. End up, it got downpouring, and I put that up. Probably shouldn't have. It's perfect conditions to throw top water all day. I know y'all gonna roast me in the comments saying, "Oh, you always talking about top water." But yeah, I get it. My arm was cramping. I ain't been throwing the top water a lot to be able to throw it all day like I used to could. My forearm was cramping, and when it does it, I just can't. So I'm just like, well, I'm gonna powerfish some. I picked up that rock crawler, caught one. So I was one fish on the rock crawler. Well, I said, I'm going back to the top water. Couldn't get bit on it. So then I went to swim baits because Ethan was killing them on swim bait. Couldn't get a bite. I couldn't. He caught like 4 or 5 fish on swim bait. Is either the color I was using or, and he was on the exact same head because he throws them that I make. So I had the head, and it must have been the color. That's the only thing I can figure. I don't know what other difference it was. But end up, I said, well, we're going to go flipping. We went back there, water was up, and I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm getting ready to tear a prop up. So at first, I wasn't going to go back in it. Then I'm just like, I'll idle back there. Because we seen shad, like gobs of shad by the hundreds, probably 1,000 back there. I would say 1,000. And we seen all kind of fish busting them. So we went back there, flipped some. He caught another throwback, and I just said, "Oh, no wonder we ain't doing no good back here, Ethan." He said, "Why?" I said, "It's a gar right there." Well, I was throwing that KVD sexy dog, and I'd paused. I was watching that gar like that, pointing it to him, and all of a sudden I heard kaboom, and my rod just loaded up, and I start cranking. End up, that was our another keeper. That was our fourth, and seems like when I get to that fourth mark, it's hard for me to find the fifth. Because then I'm just like, well, do I get a fifth in or do I go after a big one? That way I can pattern them to Cole. Well, end up, he had church at 7, was wanting to eat and stuff, so I'm just like, let's go finesse fishing. Well, we pull up on a big bluff wall and we throw our little Ned rigs and stuff, and right when we get ready to move banks, he hooks up. And he could not get that fish up. Finally, it comes up. I net him, get him in there. And I'm just like, yeah. Before that, before I seen the fish, I thought it was a keeper smallie. I thought he was like a 4+ pounder, about 20 inches. I didn't see him, but how he's pulling, it was a pig. Ended up being just shy of 18. And we could have called. That will put us. We already had probably about 10 pounds. I'd probably have put us up there, roughly gave us another pound or two, because he is fatter than mine. But got him in, had to throw him back, and I'm just like, dang it. Well, so basically, sum it up. Jig caught the biggest one of the day. 1/2 ounce Chester Wooden frog hair caught on a 7'7" meat stick and a Daiwa Tatula SV on 20-pound line off of Cumberland Point. Had a lot of bites on top water. And we ended up caught I think, 2 keepers on top water. Yeah, 2. So that was 3. Our 4th one came on that rock crawler, and then I ended up had a throw back on that spinner bait, that hog collar. I told him we went back in another cove. I said, Ethan, that tree's gonna hold a spinner bait bass. Well, I'm rolling it by that tree, and I see my blade just go dunk. I'm almost like, yep, he hit it, but he didn't get it because I didn't fill my rod load up. Well, end up I just twitch, and then I burn it and stop it. And them blades just flutter down right when I got ready to slow roll it where I could see it again. I just seen my blades go like that. And I couldn't see them no more, so I was like. So, caught him as a throwback Kentucky. But, I mean, right now on Cumberland's one of them times of year where you can throw anything you want and get bit. It's just one of them fun times. And if the weather sets up like it did last week, I'm going again Monday. I hope Ethan's off. I hope he can go with me. But if he can't, I'll find somebody. But me and him had a blast. First time we'd fished together out of a boat, and we was just goofing off. We had a good time. We was being serious there for about 3 hours, and when that rain came, he's just like, hey, I hope it rains harder, the bite would pick up. And then he got his wish, and fish shut off. And he said, if you ever hear them words come out of my mouth again, you can slap me. And then about 2 hours later, we was goofing off. He said, hey, you know what I wish? I said, what's that? He said, I hope it rains harder again. And I said, I ain't going to slap you, but do you want a rock crawler up your nose? And he's just like, no, I'd rather not have that. So that's just what kind of goofing off and chemistry me and Ethan has. But honestly, in high school, we'd never thought that we'd been fishing together or be best friends. And here about, well, he was in college. I was working at Lowe's at the time. And then he just randomly texts me because we never did talk. And then he just randomly texts me. And then I'm just like, hey, you want to FaceTime? I'm kind of doing something. And then it just kept on and on and on. We FaceTime for like a month straight every night because I was the only one that'd stay up till 5 or 7 a.m. with him and vice versa. So that's what kind of chemistry you need. And I have that with a lot of people. I have that with Jacob Turner, big shout out to you, Hoscat. Josh Adams, big shout out to you. And Ethan, I keep my fishing buddies pretty close together because I ain't wanting a lot of people knowing every one of my tricks. I show y'all a lot. They watch us a lot. But until you fish with me, you don't know every trick. I can tell you how to do it. That won't tell you or show you. Well, we'll tell you, but you gotta figure it out. But some honorable mentions that we thought about throwing was a buzz bait. This here's a TNT tackle. Love them to death. A War Eagle. That's my other go-to. It's either TNT tackle or a War Eagle. Big shout out to TNT tackle. And jerk bait. I should have thrown a jerk bait. The reason why I didn't, I was either scared that a gar would break me off, or I'd get it hung up in one of them bushes and couldn't get it. So I didn't throw jerk bait around all them shad. I'm stupid. And A-rig I did throw around a little bit, but I didn't throw it near where I needed it to. I should have threw it back there in them gobs of shad in Fallbush Creek. I was just scared of losing it. But caught one flipping bass, like I said. But majority of them was on a topwater or swim bait. Biggest one was on a jig. But what we caught most keepers on was a Ned rig or a swim bait. So yeah, trying to make sure I covered everything. Oh yeah, I gotta tell you the trailers and stuff. I was throwing a baby rage crawl. It is in summer crawl. Yep, right there. That was on the back of that frog hair jig. Ethan was flipping black and blue D-bomb on a half-ounce weight on a 4 EWG hook. And we was throwing them little copper truce TRDs on my heads. And that's pretty much covers it. Other than that rock crawler, I think it's in spring crawl at KVD Sexy Dogs and Sexy Shad with a red and white treble hook on the back. That I'm a skimmer, it's in that chrome color. It's a plain Jane. Matte hog collar, chartreuse and white. And I done went over his swim bait. His throwing an 1/8 ounce head. One of them I gave him. Well, I didn't really give it to him. I got some jigs off of him. By the way, if y'all need any jigs, holler at Ethan Hayes. He makes some awesome looking jigs. So, that's about it, folks. But I was going to do this Sunday, but I ended up, I got home, and I'm just like, crap. I got to unhook the boat. I got to unhook this. I got to plug the batteries back up, and I got to take all my crap out of it. So, got that done. Got me a shower. Me and him went to Waffle House, and after that shower, I fell asleep. I actually fell asleep before 8 o'clock, and I slept until, I think, 12. I slept like 15 hours. So, yeah, that's why y'all didn't get this Sunday, but it is Wednesday. Because Tuesday, I just didn't want to do it because it was going to be late. I closed that night, and I was like, well, I could do it at 12 o'clock at night, but not many people's going to watch it. It's currently 11:30. I'm getting ready to wrap this video up. As always, be safe, have fun, give God all the glory, and check out Kurt Singer Sunrise Outfitters, Dog Patch, Saddlebrook, and the Tackle Spot. And all, as always, keep fishing and have a good day. I'm out.